Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So today I'm going to be using the Planners Anonymous Tropicana digital kit to make myself a cool little notepad. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so for today's video we're going to start off on the computer, which is a little different for a Planners Anonymous video, but we're going to go into Photoshop and I'm going to make a new A4 page. Now, if you're living in the States or living somewhere where you use a different size, feel free to use that size in this case. But just for us Aussies and for me, because I understand it, I'm going to work on an A4 sheet. And that's so that I can picture this size-wise. I have issues digitally moving to real life. I sometimes get them mixed up. So I'll draw myself a template on an A4 page to be able to guide me a little bit. So I'm going to come down here to my square tool and I'm going to make myself a square. I'm going to make this be the exact same size as the Planners Anonymous notepads, the little ones that sit in the front of the Melody. So this one is 9.5 centimeters wide by 6 centimeters tall. So I'll just go up here, 9.5 centimeters by 6 centimeters. I'm going to leave the line width at 1 millimeter so that I can see it. And then I'm just going to move this up to the top corner. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that one and paste it and move it. It'll be sitting right on that line. And I'm going to fill this page up with as many of these as I can. I think it'll let me do 8. I have a feeling. Definitely won't let me do... Come on. Got to be sitting right on that line. There it is. There we go. And if I go copy and paste, come on. I am no expert on Photoshop, guys. I'll make that really clear right now. I am not great at it. I can get it to do the very basic things I need it to do, but that's about it. So that's all good. There we go. So I've got my 8 there. Now we've got our, I guess, pages of our notepad, so we can start to actually design them. So what you can do is you can use some of these frames here. Where are they? Here they are. And you can drag them in and have them, but they don't quite fit the size that I'm working to. So for that reason, I'm going to make my own. So all I'm going to do here is grab some of the artwork that I like. So we can do, I'm going to do the beach sign, and I'm going to have that sit in the corner here, and as long as everything sits within my box, it'll be fine. So I'll zoom in a minute and finish where I want to put all of these. I'm not going to do any of the tickets. I'm going to use one of those dividers. I'm actually just going to drag and drop all of these in. I'm going to use the greenery. Oh, it's because I've got that selected. I knew that. I'll do the greenery. I won't use the hibiscus. I want to use that flamingo. My computer is very slow today. I'm going to use that pineapple. I'm going to use the surfboard. I'm going to have the toucan. I'm going to grab the ukulele. Alright, so now I'm going to zoom in. Oops, maybe zoomed in a bit far. And then I can move these around to kind of design each of my little notepads. The other thing you can do is there is some in here that are called washi. This one's got washi here. So I'm going to put this one in. I'm going to make it smaller. So it's going to fit here. Not for all of them, but you could do it for all of them so they all stay consistent if you wanted to. So I'm going to have that one. I'm just going to make this then a little bit smaller just to match. So I've got a little bit more room. And there's our first page. This next one, we might just do something a little bit easier. Now remember, you do want to have room to be able to write. So you wouldn't have the whole thing in here. You are designing a page, like a little notepad. So I'm going to have this up in the top. What you can also do is if you go back in here and you go back one, you go to quotes and word fetty, you can put a quote on here. So we could do, I'm going to put relax and refresh, make that a bit smaller, Actually, I'll put it to here. I was going to put the toucan at the top, but I'm going to put the toucan at the bottom and put the relax and refresh in here. There we go. So I'm just going to continue doing all of these, just altering the sizes, playing around with them, redesigning bits and pieces. And I'll let you guys watch just while I do it super fast, and I'll be back in just a sec. Alright, so some of these I've done quotes, some of them I haven't. Some of them I've left a little bit more plain, which is fine. I was hoping there was a pink one, but there wasn't something that kind of matched that, but that's fine. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go and pick up the boxes. So if you come down here to your layers at the bottom and go rectangle, I hope this works. I want to make, that's the top rectangle I think, yep. I just want to make the rectangle white now, or a very light grey. So if I go properties, and go white. It'll now make it so I can't see that. Now, depending on the kind of person you are when it comes to cutting, if you want to, leave this as a really light grey. So I'm going to come back in again. Just going to undo what I just did. I'm going to make this a 0.05. Whoop, no, 0.005. Very skinny. And I'm going to make this a light grey. And that way I know if I cut just on the inside of that line, it should be fine. So I'm going to do the same thing for all of them. Could have done this at the start. You could have made them all light grey at the start. I just like having them black so I can see them. I get really worried when I can't quite work out where things are. So this helps me. It's an extra step, but it works. If anyone knows how I can do this all in one go, let me know. Alright, there they are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print these out 3 times. I'm going to print them on my colour printer, and I'm going to print them on my Canson drawing paper, because it's my favourite. And we'll come back and you'll see me back on the desk and we'll start cutting them out. Okay, so now we're done with Photoshop. We can come back into the real world. This is the paper that I used in case I haven't shown you guys before. And this is what the prints have ended up looking like. Ryan has made a very good point while I was printing those that I probably don't need to use a special paper because it is just note paper. But it depends on what you want to do. You guys know me. I like to be a little bit... I like to use the nice paper. So now what we're going to do, and you can do this lots of different ways. We're just going to cut out each of the little boxes. I find this easier to cut them so I can sort of play with each box one by one and then trim them down. So I'm just going to do it for one so you guys can see, and then I'll do the other pages off camera because it's really not that difficult. And then you can do it one of 2 ways, depending on what kind of trimmer you have and how much you trust your own sort of eyesight and stuff. You can do this sort of just by what's there. I like to just give myself a little bit of an extra. So I'll just come in with a pencil and mark where I want to cut it. So I'm cutting always just on the inside of that line. Now something I'm going to do to help myself out a little, grabbing one of the bits of paper from one of the other Melody notepads, because I know they're the same size. I'm grabbing my bit of tape here and I'm moving this to be on the edge of the paper. There we go. So I know that that's reasonably straight. It might not be perfectly straight, but it's pretty close. And I know that that side's now exactly where I want it to be. So if I go like this, no, it's a little bit too far across. That's okay. Once we've got it down the first time, it'll be fine. Because I want these to be as close to the same size each time as I can make them. So that way it'll make a nice, neat notepad. Because there's nothing I hate more than a notepad that's not neat. It drives me bonkers. There we go. So I'm just going to move that in just a teensy bit. Because if I cut them all this way, they'll all be the same. A little bit more. It's a little bit like that measure once, cut, measure twice, cut once. Once you've got it, it'll be right. There we go. So I'm going to make them all the same width by doing that. So if I go through and mark off where I want to cut these ones. So we'll do for each side, just one of them. Put this one in, line up the markings, cut, spin, push it up against the edge here, and that's going to be right. And then we'll cut off the tops and the bottoms afterwards. So line it up, cut, spin, push up against the washi. Easy. So they'll all be the same size this way. So I've got all of those, and then we're going to do the exact same thing with the other side. So I'm going to trim off the bottom. So that's now exactly perfect. I'm going to hold this, grab this in again. Actually, no, we'll do it this way. Line this up where it needs to be. So again, just on the inside of the line, grab the tape at the bottom of the paper and cut. And so this way they're always going to be exactly the right height. Now I don't use my washi as the edge. I always make sure I push down on the bottom. The washi is just a guide to help you line it up, because there's a chance obviously that that's not straight, whereas I know this bottom plastic bit is straight. So there's our little notepad. Oh, I'm so happy they're all the same size. They're all the same size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do that again really quickly for the other 2 pages. And then we'll come back and we'll assemble this. So they're all cut. It took a bit, but they're all cut. They're not all perfect. That's fine. It's honestly not a big deal. So what I'm going to do then is go... I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all together, and then repeat. So that way I get the same pattern through each time. Some of these you can see a little bit of the grey line at the top. Most of them you can't. I actually think I did a reasonably good job with 90% of them. It's not a big deal though. They still look mostly perfect. And the thing that I'm more impressed is they are all the exact same I'm very happy about that. All right, so now comes the fun part, or the part that I didn't know I could do, and I'm very excited that I can. You're going to need 2 bulldog clips, some glue. I find that PVA glue or Tombow, I use my Tombow mono glue, but I have heard that just normal PVA glue will do too. I haven't heard that, I know that. And Mod Podge will do the job as well. So I'm just putting these together, making sure they're as straight as they can be. Go. And then I'm bulldog clipping these together. Actually, before I do that, there's one more thing that I need to do, and that's just I need to add myself a little board here. So I'm doing, this is a bit of chipboard. It's actually a bit of packaging that's been left over, but either of the things will do the job. Oh. But I want a base for this. So I'm just grabbing one of the bits so that I can use my little marker here to guide how wide this needs to be. So I've done the tall, the tall, that one. I'll just put that back. Again, it's a guide. It's not there to fully mark exactly where it needs to be, but it just needs to guide me as to where it is. There we go. There we go. All right. So that goes on the back. I'm so happy right now. So I'm just lining them up. You can see here a few of them are not exactly perfect, but they're pretty close. Pretty close. So I'm just going to put the bulldog clip over each side. Alright, so there's our notepad, in the respect that that's the pad itself. It's a bit not quite. There we go, that's better. So then what you need to do is I'm going to grab a bit of this scrap, and I'm grabbing my glue brush, because I have a glue brush, and some glue. So all I'm going to do is just put a big dob here so I can paint this on. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to paint the glue on the top. So I'm just filling up my brush and we're just painting the glue on. Now my best advice for this is to do a couple of layers. So cover it across first. Don't panic too much about anything that gets on the front. It's not a big deal. But try as much as you can to keep the pressure kind of on these top bits so that they stay stuck together. Okay, so that's the first bit, and then I'm just going to run my finger across the front so that I pick up any of the big globs of glue. And then we're going to do the same thing again. So a little bit more glue. I probably could have put just more out in the first place, but anyway. And we're just going to do another layer on the top. Don't do what I did and just stick your finger in it. That's not what you're supposed to do. Just painting a layer of glue here. It's never going to be like what you see at the shop, so don't expect it to be. It will be a bit messy. It will be a bit not quite right, but it will give you the same effect. If you see any air bubbles, just try and put some more glue in that air bubble. Here we go. Alright, so that's 2 layers of glue. Just going to put a little bit more in. What I'm going to do now is leave this alone. And when I say leave it alone, I'm going to leave it alone for probably 2 or 3 hours. And I want that to dry 90%. It will probably still be a little bit tacky. Like I said, you can't expect this to be like it is in the shops because it's not. It's not the same kind of stuff. But it might still be a little bit tacky. That's fine. I'm just going to then put another layer on and another layer on. And I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'll show you the final product. So obviously it'll still be in the same video, but it'll be tomorrow when I do this. So I can show you what the final product was, how many layers I used, etc. Just put it off to the side, leave the bulldog clips on, and then just keep putting a couple more layers on for the next couple of hours or so. I'm really in love with that. I think that's really cool. And it's actually a bit thicker than I thought it would. I don't know why I thought that the 1636, I don't know, I'm not good at maths. 36 pages would be quite so thick, but they really are. And that notepad has, the sizing of it is absolutely perfect. So anyway, like I said, I'll be back again for the final bit which will be tomorrow, and I'll see you then. Alright, so it's tomorrow. Thank you for coming back, or thank you for sticking with me. And this is the final product. So this is probably, I reckon there was probably 3 layers of glue. It is still a little bit sticky. I'm not worried about that, honestly. It's not going to be a big problem. Where it's going to sit in my planner is not going to be an issue. And I'll show you too. I'm going to put it into my note to self planner in just a second. So you've got the little flicks, and of course I'll do a zoom so you can see, but you can see it does all stick together like a proper kind of made notepad. I'm very proud. I didn't think this would work. And then you've got your 8 little designs. So you've got your little toucan and your ukulele. And I really want to pull one off, but I really don't want to. You've got your pineapple, you've got your grasses, your little flamingo. You take me to the beach with the washy thing at the bottom. And then you relax to the ocean waves. And I think there's one more. There is. And your little hibiscus at the top. I really want to pull one off, but I really don't want to. I kind of have to, don't I, to show you guys. So I'm just going to take off this one. This take me to the beach one. This is the test to see if it pulls off all of the others. I don't think it will. It may. Oh, it didn't. The others are still perfect. And that one's come off. It's still a little sticky again on the top. But it's not an issue. And, whoops, that just went flying over there. I didn't mean it to. And I can now put this in here. And look, I made my own Planners Anonymous notepad that fits perfectly in there. I'm so proud. I'm so proud. And you can do that with any kind of notepad size you want. And the cool thing about the digital kits is that you can design whatever you like. You could do a to-do list and decorate it with the Tropicana stuff. You could do a daily notepad like the ones that I love from Chasing Planner Piece. I can't find it right now, but you know which ones I'm talking about. And you could decorate that with Tropicana. So basically, every notepad you put into your planner from this point onwards never has to not have a kit attached to it. And I do know, because I was watching the live today, this is the bonus of today's video, having this little bit at the end, that there are 4 new digital creative kits coming. I think it's on the 16th. I think that's what Michael said. So we've already got Chapter 3, Tropicana, Deck the Halls, Forest Falls, Babe It's Christmas, and I can't read my own writing. Note to self. I didn't know what it was. But there's also going to be Sakura, Huggy Life, which I think is how you say it, but I'm still going to call it Huggy Life, Milk Bar, and the brand new kit that was released or announced today is Bon Voyage, and that's going to have its own as well. Think of the things you can do. The things you can do. Anyway, that's my little notepad using the Tropicana Digital Creative Kit from Planners Anonymous. Thank you guys so much for watching and for hanging around to see the afters. I don't usually do big gaps in my videos, so thank you for hanging around. If you did enjoy this one, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss future Planners Anonymous videos from me. I hope you have an absolutely awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!